What if you checked into a hotel, and the next morning, every trace of your stay, your name, your room, even the person you were traveling with, simply vanished? And worse, what if nobody believed you ever existed? Tonight, I'm going to tell you a story that's haunted historians and conspiracy theorists for over a century. The story of the Forgotten Room. It's one of those tales that will make you question not only what's real, but whether the people you love could disappear right under your nose, and the world around you would just pretend they never were. It all began in 1911. Evelyn Hart, a 28-year-old English woman with a taste for adventure, stepped off the Orient Express onto the platform of Paris Gare de Lyon. Beside her walked her mother, Margaret, a tall, elegant woman with silver hair and eyes sharp enough to catch the faintest whisper in a crowd. Their plan was simple: spend a week in Paris before heading to the sun-drenched French Riviera. They took a taxi from the station to the Hôtel du Louvre, a grand hotel with gleaming marble floors and a lobby filled with the scent of polished wood and distant cigarette smoke. "One room, please," Evelyn told the concierge, a polite man with a waxed mustache and eyes that seemed to weigh her carefully. "Two beds. My mother is quite tired." The concierge nodded and handed them a heavy brass key. As they rode the lift up to their room, Evelyn couldn't help but feel a thrill, the city's energy buzzing around them, the promise of new memories. That evening, they walked along the Seine, the Eiffel Tower glowing softly in the mist. When they returned to the hotel, Evelyn kissed her mother goodnight. She could hear the steady rhythm of Margaret's breathing, calm and comforting, as she drifted off to sleep. But the next morning, something was wrong. Sunlight spilled across the patterned carpet, but Margaret's bed was empty. The sheets were perfectly made, as if untouched. Evelyn frowned. Her mother was an early riser, always leaving a note when she left the room. But this time, nothing. Anxiety gnawed at her as she dressed and hurried down to the reception desk. "Excuse me," she said, voice trembling slightly. "My mother seems to be missing. Did she leave a message?" The concierge blinked, tilting his head. "Your mother?" "Yes, Margaret Hart. We checked in together last night." The man's polite smile tightened. "Mademoiselle, you arrived alone." "There was no one with you." Evelyn's heart skipped a beat. "That's impossible. She was right here. We shared the room." The concierge shook his head slowly. "You booked a single room, mademoiselle. Alone." She wanted to scream. Was this some terrible joke? She demanded to see the guest ledger. Her name was there, but under number of guests the neat black ink read. Evelyn ran upstairs, heart pounding like a drum. The room was different. Her mother's suitcase was gone. The second bed removed entirely, as if it had never existed. Her fingers trembled as she searched through her belongings. The travel documents listing her mother's name were missing, along with the small silver hairbrush Margaret always carried. It was like she had vanished into thin air. Was the hotel covering something up? Had her mother fallen ill and been taken away without a word? Or worse, was Evelyn losing her mind? Determined to get answers, she insisted the British embassy be contacted. Instead, the concierge sent for the hotel doctor, a portly man in a gray suit with a slow, measured voice. "You seem tired, mademoiselle," he said kindly, but with an edge. "Travel can confuse the mind, sometimes. The mind invents companions. Are you saying I imagined my own mother?" Evelyn's voice cracked. The doctor smiled thinly. "Rest a day or two. Perhaps then you will remember the truth." But his tone wasn't kind. It was dismissive, like he already knew there would be no answers. That night, Evelyn left the hotel, wandering the dark streets of Paris, unsure where to turn. The city's warmth felt suddenly cold and hostile. Lights seemed to bright, alleys to deep near the Pont Neuf bridge. She stopped to catch her breath. Then she heard it, a faint voice calling her name, Evelyn. She spun around. The streets were empty. The voice came again, closer. Evelyn, don't stay here. Was it real? Or was her mind playing tricks? It sounded just like her mother. The next morning, Evelyn was more desperate than ever. She searched every floor of the hotel, and at the far end of the third floor hallway, she found a locked door. Pressing her ear against it, she thought she heard faint movement inside. She asked a maid about the door. The woman's eyes widened, and she glanced nervously at the concierge's desk. "It's not safe to ask questions here," the maid whispered. Before hurrying away, Evelyn never saw that maid again. Then, just 2 days later, a telegram arrived at Evelyn's friend in London. It was from the British Embassy. Miss Evelyn Hart passed away suddenly in Paris. Cause of death, influenza. But there was no death record in Paris for Evelyn Hart. No grave. No official mention at all. It was as if she and her mother had been erased from existence. Some say Margaret caught a rare plague, and the French government covered it up to avoid panic, quietly quarantining everyone who had contact. Others whisper that Evelyn stepped through a time slip where her mother never arrived in Paris at all. Then, there are those who believe this story is just one thread in a larger, darker tapestry, reports of the Forgotten Room appearing in hotels all over the world. The pattern is always the same. A traveler arrives with a companion, only to leave alone, with no proof the other person ever existed. So, what do you think? Was it a government conspiracy? A paranormal event? Or just the cruelest form of gaslighting imaginable? Before you go, ask yourself, if someone you loved suddenly vanished and no one believed you, how would you prove they were real? Tell me in the comments which part of this story unsettled you the most. And if you think you're brave enough to face more mysteries like this, hit subscribe because next time we're diving even deeper into the shadows.